The next thing I would look into is about essential micronutrients. Of course, we don't want to look at all the vitamins and minerals, but here more importance would definitely be given to calcium, iron, and vitamin D. And it's very important that we meet the recommended dietary allowance for that. This is very important during this stage of life. Unfortunately, the intake around it is not as great. Males definitely need higher intake of energy, protein, vitamins C, B complex vitamins, vitamin K, magnesium, zinc, fluoride, manganese, and females have higher needs for iron. So one must understand that. Now, how much calcium does an adolescent need? And this is very important to understand that there are a lot of studies also to show that the calcium requirements of the adolescent are really not met. So one must understand this and ensure that we meet the calcium requirements accordingly. And most of the times, when there is a survey done, there will be surveys which tell you that only 10 to 12% of the subjects from all states of the age group of 13 to 15 meet their calcium requirements just about 70%, which is not really good. So here you on the screen, you will see the nutrition trends of India between 1957 to 2017. It's a modern India and dietary calcium deficiency, half a century nutrition data, retrospect, introspect, and the road ahead. So they reviewed the nutritional status of India in the past half century. The table depicting the RDI, or recommended dietary index, of cereals, millets, milk and milk products, and the RDA of calcium intake across various age groups in the rural survey and tribal survey, and distribution of the percentage of children according to the RDA of calcium in different states. Between 70 to 85% of the children of all states have low calcium intake, less than the 50% of the recommended dietary allowance. Similarly, only 10 to 12% of the subjects from all states of the age group 13 to 15 years have a recommended dietary allowance of calcium met up to 70%. Again, here, this is a cross-sectional study which was conducted on 220 students between the age of 5 to 16 years from different schools in Pune. The duration of the study was from June 2013 to July 2014. The most commonly consumed food items under each food group were enlisted, and the other calcium-rich food items were identified and recommended. Here, when we're talking about iron, definitely iron deficiency, anemia is very, very common in girls. And the girls require more iron definitely than the boys because of the menstruation. And because 70% of the Indian population is vegetarian, you have to ensure that the iron is well met. With iron, also vitamin C has to be increased so that it aids in better absorption of iron. Again, you have to make the kids understand, because they continuously are in a habit of drinking tea or coffee that contains substances like polyphenols that make it harder for the bodies to absorb iron. So consuming tea or coffee immediately after food may decrease the iron absorption. Here, there is another study, which is NGO Smile Foundation, which has helped adolescent girls of Suratnagar phase 2 of Gurgaon, and they decided to overcome iron deficiency anemia. They decided to improve the health of about 100 adolescent anemic girls between the age group of 10 to 19 years through education and awareness. So in Jan 2019, when the hemoglobin tests were done, on an average, hemoglobin was recorded between 6 to 11 grams. After 6 months, in June, another blood test was done and a significant improvement in the hemoglobin levels were recorded. So the intervention shows that the girls had hemoglobin levels more than 9 grams, but the 82 girls had hemoglobin levels at 9 and above, which means until and unless the individuals are educated about the health implications of a particular condition, they take little or no preventive or corrective measures. So it's very important that the awareness about nutrition is spread among young girls. Again, here the adolescent period is a very intense anabolic period where the requirements of all the nutrients increase. The poor food habits, lack of resources, and lack of nutritional awareness are considered to be the main factors in determining the nutritional status. During the intervention phase, they had to change the poor food habits, raise awareness about anemia, and thirdly, even how poor people can have a very nutrient rich diet. So people residing in rural region cannot afford to eat luxurious or expensive nutritious food, but one can suggest low cost nutritious food, whatever is locally seasonally available in terms of the cereals or millets, the dals, sprouts, local seasonal vegetables, fruits, and jaggery. They also discussing practices of cooking, better cooking to preserve nutrients like steaming, boiling, not throwing away the water or the broth which contains vegetables, the right methodology of cooking. This is also very important in ensuring that the requirements are met without a big dig on the pocket. So coming to vitamin D, it's definitely essential for bone health, and adequate intake is required to prevent the growth faltering in children. The risk of vitamin D deficiency is high where there is low consumption of foods rich in vitamin D, and there is inadequate exposure to UV radiation from sunlight. According to the study of medicine guidelines, it says that about 30 nanomoles per liter was used to define vitamin deficiency among children aged 1 to 9 years and adolescent between 10 to 19 years. So definitely vitamin D is considered as a sunshine vitamin, and milk products are these days fortified. Government is taking good amount of measures to fortify it. Eggs are a good source of vitamin D apart from mushroom. You have good types of fish like salmon being a good source of vitamin D. So one must encourage adolescents to, have these products, and also at least sunbathe for about 10 to 15 minutes daily. And that is the best source of vitamin D. So you do have the recommended dietary allowance depending on the age group between 10 to 12, 13 to 15, and 16 to 18. And here the importance is, apart from given for the macronutrients, which is your protein and fats and the whole caloric requirement, a good amount of importance is given to calcium and iron. Again, the ICMR recommended dietary allowances for adults or for adolescents is also based on which age group you are. And here again, there is a good amount of focus on calcium, iron, and vitamin D. So ensure that when you're planning or when you're suggesting a diet, you ensure that you take the recommended dietary allowances and plan accordingly. When most of the times we see these days, the caloric requirements per se are met, or sometimes it is in excess. But where are the caloric requirements coming from? Mostly, if they are coming from, say, high fat, high sugary food or sugary drinks, then they contain very few nutrients. So this can become like a problem in future. So ensure that the nutritional requirements are met, but they are met in a proper way. Here, a new survey by the Ministry of Health has found distressingly high levels of malnutrition among Indian children and adolescents. So this study was conducted between 2016 and 2018, and it's a very comprehensive national nutrition survey, collected data on the nutritional status of the representative sample of 1.1 lakh children and adolescents from the age of 10 to 19 years from 29 states. What they have revealed is 1 out of the 4 adolescents between the ages of 10 to 19 were thin for their age with lower body mass index. As the children grow older, the bone growth completes and they reach maximum height they can attain. So that is a better measure of malnutrition, is a body mass index for the age. So 24.1% of adolescents have low BMI for their age, and 1 in 4 or almost 1 in 4. So the North Indian states, if you see, have lowest levels of undernourishment and about 30 to 40% egg consumption and 40 to 50% of meat consumption. So the state with the lowest consumption of eggs and meats, Himachal Pradesh, has the second highest level of undernourishment. Malnutrition, appears highly correlated with the lack of consumption of protein, basically in the age groups. There are several anomalies which would be expected, and this is a state level data, and nutrition and dietary habits vary from district to district. So for adolescents, as the children are growing, and once they stop growing in height, the body mass index becomes a reasonably accurate measure of malnutrition. So if you even see globally, the protein consumption is on a rise, averaging about 68 grams per person per day. India has the lowest average protein consumption at 47 grams per person per day as compared to the other Asian countries as well as developed nations. So India is again facing a double burden of malnutrition with 38% undernutrition, that is about 46.6 million in children under the age of 5, and about 15% obesity and overweight, that about 14.4 million. So there is a variation in obesity prevalence across the age, gender, socioeconomic status, with the ICMR INDIAB study showing that the prevalence of obesity ranges from 11.8 to 31.3% for India. With the rise of NCDs or non-communicable diseases, it's very important to have a balance in the quality and quantity of micronutrients.